Hi there, I'm Stephanie Stegan, and I am doing my literature review today on technology planning and classroom implementation. I chose this subject because our district that I work in has implemented a digital one-to-one, and when we began, we did have several factors that factored into the implementing process that did cause some problems to begin with that had to be worked out, as with anything. But I wanted to see if it was something that happens to other schools, to other districts, and if the factors were the same. And what I found was that many of the same factors affect the schools the same way. Now, we all know that technology is needed to prepare students for the future, and implementation is required if students want to be relevant and effective. And the intention is always to enhance the classroom. However, some factors need to be considered when implementing the one-to-one digital. It doesn't always reach the success that many promise, and much in part is because of these three factors. The infrastructure to support devices, the teacher perception, and professional development are all things that factor into a digital one-to-one curriculum. Now, when many budgets have a large portion that are dedicated to integrating technology into the classroom, and some school systems have not taken the time for the infrastructure to support. So what they have done is they've simply bought devices and not considered what is needed to support these devices. The Wi-Fi, the internet, the support, the technology support for when they break down or when something goes wrong, and also the time that it takes for the students to be able to get used to these things, and when students get these things that they break, they need to be charged. All of these things factor in, and this is an infrastructure problem. So it's not a consideration when making decisions on devices. Many times they just buy them and then start wanting to implement it. The reliable platform for Wi-Fi and internet is results, if it is overlooked, it actually results in lost instructional time. I know that at our school, we found this to be a significant problem. We would all be required to take a test on a certain day or a certain time, and then everyone would log in and then the server would go down. Or in other instances, the Wi-Fi would go down. At the beginning, the Wi-Fi strength was not necessarily strong enough. And as I did my research through this, I found that this was a problem that did affect other schools. And so they didn't, it's really, these not considering this actually leads to the teachers being discouraged and feeling like it's not a fully, you're not fully capable to implement the program as it was meant to be. Another factor that this leads directly into is the teacher perception and attitude. The attitude of the teacher is paramount in the success of tech integration. You have to have, the teachers need to have confidence to use the technology. They need to have the management skills to facilitate it. They need to have the time to plan it. They are integral to the process. If teachers feel like it's just a computer and they're going to be replaced by that computer, that's not really an effective way to present that to the teacher. And they need to know that the technology is just one more tool that they can use whenever they are working. Teachers don't want to feel like they're being replaced. They need to know that they're integral into the process. They need to know that when technology is there, that they are the feedback still for the students, that they are the push for the students to think critically when using this technology, and they need to know that these are real world problems and they need to help the students to be able to solve that. Okay? Technology can make learning easier for students, but it can also make it much more superficial. That's what Pate said in one of the articles that I read. And so this teacher perception and attitude also leads to the next factor, which is professional development, okay? The success of technology integration is also dependent upon the teacher perspective of the teacher. They have to have confidence to use the tools in the classroom. This leads right into professional development, or I could say the lack of professional development. Most of the time, teachers who are expected to implement digital one-to-one have received less than 8 hours of professional development on their teaching, or on the devices, basically, okay? Most programs do not require formal preparation unless it is something that is in their exact degree field, okay? This all leads to a poor attitude and perception. Teachers need to be included in the process and see how and where to incorporate their technology. It's vital, their professional development is vital to the technology implementation, and they need to be involved. In many cases, and in some districts, they hire technology leaders, that act as change agents for the teachers so that the teachers have a mentor, they get feedback, and they are developed so that they can identify the appropriate and authentic technology tools to support their teaching and their learning. So in conclusion, these are we know that technology is imperative. We know now that we have to have a district that pays attention to the infrastructure, that gives teachers the ownership of the technology, and that are provided ongoing learning. It is through this that we can know that technology can then make a difference. If we don't think about these things, technology can be just very superficial and used in the classroom as basically a time filler and does not really create that program that you want it to create. These are my resources that I used for this literature review. Thank you.